is it going in the trash or does it have a place in my drawer? I've been waiting for Harbor Freight to come out with this for a long time. It's a cordless right angle die grinder. And a right angle die grinder is one of my favorite tools for fabrication. I usually use them with one of these little roll-lock disc attachments right here. Now, growing up, I used pneumatic ones in my dad's shop. In fact, most of the tools in that automotive world, at least at the time, were pneumatic: grinders, drills, impact wrenches. It was all air tools. And I used these for a lot of years until I tried one of these Milwaukee ones at a buddy's shop a couple years ago. And I liked it so much that I went out and bought one, and later actually bought a second one so I could have two different attachments on them. This one has a little kind of a sanding disc on it. But I'd wish there was a lower priced alternative because these were like 200 bucks. So that's why I'm excited to see this come out at Harbor Freight for $59. I ran over and bought one. This isn't sponsored or anything. I think it's fair to say that I do like my red tools, but I'm not a purist. Last holiday season, I bought this when it was on sale, and I've been pretty happy with it for a yellow tool at least. No, it's awesome. But generally speaking, I'm in the Milwaukee lineup. Now I do also have one Hercules right here, cordless bandsaw. And this has been awesome. I bought it because it's like a third the price of the Milwaukee. So even with the battery, it was quite a bit less. And it's been really good. So I'm excited to take a chance on this grinder. There wasn't much in the box. It's the tool alone and the wrenches for the collet. And it seems to be pretty well made. It feels to be a similar weight to the Milwaukee to me, at least not any noticeable difference. On the back, you have a button to select your speeds as well as a variable speed trigger with a lock there. One thing I am noticing is the handle is a little bit smaller around than the Milwaukee. I think that's largely driven by the nature of the M12 batteries that slide in here that kind of sizes your handle. Not that this is uncomfortable by any means, it's a pretty comfortable handle, but I actually think the smaller handle like this is better. However, this right here doesn't feel quite as smooth to me as the trigger lock on the Milwaukee. That's just a little bit easier to flip up and operate on the red tool here than the blue. But it's not bad. I had to buy the battery separately because I don't have any other 12-volt Hercules tools. And I do like how the level readout is right here on the battery on their 12-volt line, unlike the Milwaukee tools where you have to connect it to the tool to actually see the battery level and how much juice is left. I didn't have to buy a charger because it shares a charger with the M20 that I got for that bandsaw. I do also like how the battery gives you a flat surface just to set it down and pick it up real quick. So without using it, so far so good, but let's try this thing out. Okay, so you have 4 different speed settings. Let's just go for the fastest one and see how it feels. It's smooth, quiet. I'm not feeling a lot of vibration. So one thing these little grinders are great for is deburring and just putting a little chamfer on parts. So let's give that a try right here. Now I'm just using one of these flap discs on a roll-lock adapter, and that worked pretty good, I'd say. You know, that's really handy. And if you're working with small detailed parts, a lot easier to control than a large angle grinder. Now, another reason you might use it on a part like this is to prep for TIG welding, because even though there's not really much mill scale on here, just that little bit of oxidation can throw things off. Now, in order to clean that up, I'll usually use one of these Scotch-Brite type pads right here on the roll-lock disc and just hit it real quick. So you can see how handy that is. I mean, this thing so far is working really good. Let's go ahead and just clean up a whole side here with it. You can see you can clean up a lot of material in a hurry with that thing. I mean, looks pretty good. You need 2 wrenches to be able to change the wheels on these. And I don't know why they don't put like a call it lock button, but that's how all the pneumatic ones and the Milwaukee ones, they work the same way with just the 2. But the collet and everything feels really good to operate. Looks pretty standard to me. I don't see any little like burrs or anything in the taper. The machining and quality on it looks to be, you know, pretty good in my opinion. The threads feel smooth and everything runs pretty good. Now sometimes I use these little Velcro sandpaper pads because you can go down through grits and like polish your material, especially for metallurgical samples. I've used those. Anyway, so let's just give that a try right here. I wanted to test it out and load the motor a little more, so I put on this 3-inch roll-lock adapter here, just because that'll put a little bit more load on it. Now I'm going to try leaning pretty hard into this just to slow the motor down, so I will say the power is really good. Now, if you really bear into it, I could bog that motor down a little bit. Okay, so I have this set up with a similar size battery. This is their 2.5 amp hour versus the 2 amp hour. Let's go ahead and go on high speed and see if it bogs down just as much. I'm able to bog this one down as well, but it does feel like slightly more power to me, just a little more. Now the last thing I want to try here is just a carbide burr. I don't want this to spin too fast, so I've set the tool here to 2, and I want to see how well and controlled that's able to run. All right, well, at the end of the day, what do I think of this thing? You know, is it going in the trash or does it have a place in my drawer? I think it works good. Honestly, it does the job just as well as the red one, and it's, you know, a fourth, maybe a third the price, and they have coupons that come out on the regular. We all know the Harbor Freight coupon game. I love that. But some things that I noticed on it, it has an LED light here at the bottom, similar to the Milwaukee, to light up your work area. It has some mesh screens over the inlets to keep metal debris out of the motors. And overall, it just seems really well built. The variable speed works really well. It's smooth and easy to control. I did think that the Milwaukee seemed to have just slightly a little bit more power, but I didn't measure that in any objective way. It just felt to have a little more power when you really bear into it with this 3-inch wheel. But this is way more than adequate for anything that I'd actually do. So at the price point, yeah, I think it seems pretty promising, and I think it's cool to be able to have some of these options for less money for the specialty tools. Well, these videos are supported by my online courses. If you are just learning to weld, I've got something that can make the process a lot easier and faster. I've put together online courses that get you away from watching videos and out there actually practicing focused exercises, and so you work on one thing at a time to keep from getting overwhelmed and make some fast progress. I keep them as affordable as possible, and I guarantee that you're going to save way more than a couple of hours, and if you only saved that, it would have paid for itself. So be sure to check those out, linked in the description. If you don't like them, I'll give you your money back, and thanks a ton for tuning in. We'll see you next time.